it is muted. There we go. Sorry about that. As I was saying before that, I was having some problems with my microphone. So that's what took a little while to get the show started. I don't have any music or anything like that just yet. I'm still in the process of getting everything going for the brand new venture.
There we go.
But I was asked to start doing a stock show by some people in the Piper Academy Discord. And I kind of just wanted to try it on out, see how things go for this new one. It's going to be very traditional finance focused. We'll be focusing on stocks, bonds, be taking a look at gold, more of the metrics that Piper talks about in the morning, stuff like that. We'll also be taking a look at requests that anyone has, or some news articles as well. So, just kind of focusing on the traditional side of things, leaving crypto out of it. Though crypto might make an appearance every once in a while when it makes an appearance in the traditional side of things, because they've been doing quite a bit in the traditional side of things. Companies been buying Bitcoin, things like that. We'll have appearances of crypto every once in a while, but for the most part, we will focus on stocks. So I did want to start off with that stock heat map, because we are seeing a mixed market right now. We've got your big seven, both sitting green and red right now. You've got Apple sitting up 0.05%, Nvidia sitting up a whopping 1.14%. Berkshire Hathaway kind of muted right now as it did just make 7 large purchases. So I will kind of save that one for another show. Probably this weekend. That's going to be my best time to really do that. I just had the day off, so I said, screw it, let's go live. We've got Amazon sitting down 1.19%. We've got Eli Lilly up 0.99%. ExxonMobil up 2.75% right now. Tesla making some moves back towards the upside, getting some flack from Trump on wanting to make a new political party. And there was an article I was looking at where Trump's starting to go after some of the Republicans that are starting to support him. So I guess he's getting some positive news off of the conflict they're having this time. We've got P&G sitting down 1.27%. Microsoft sitting down 0.29%. We've got Google sitting down 1.46%. And Meta up 0.36%. And I've got a news article that'll touch on Meta. I did want to hop over to those fear and greeds because I do see the stock side is sitting in greed still. Let me get that pulled up for you. We're sitting at 75 and greed. Almost too extreme greed. I don't know if we necessarily hit that, as tomorrow will be the deadline on those tariffs, although he is pushing that out to August. But those letters of intent that he has for the tariffs on these countries will be going out tomorrow. So something to keep your eye on. Stock market might get a little bit of some sell-off here. I don't know if anyone has some stocks that they've had their eyes on. If so, you can go ahead, throw them in the chat for me. I will take a look at them a little bit later. I do have these few news articles I wanted to talk about, touching on some big news that has been coming out of the stock market. We do have Meta poaches Apple AI executive, what it means for the tech stock. Meta Platforms has made another major hire in its push for artificial intelligence supremacy, this time poaching one of Apple's top AI researchers, according to a report Tuesday from the Wall Street Journal. Ruang Peng nailed it, probably, who previously led Apple's AI and machine learning foundation model, will join Meta's newly formed Super Intelligence Labs unit. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg lured Peng with a pay package worth tens of millions of dollars, the journal reported. Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, didn't immediately respond to a request to comment. Quite a big move here, especially as Meta has been dropping more and more in the AI sector. I know one of my buddies, he's a salesman, has the Meta glasses, and he says they work quite nicely for helping him in his everyday tasks, taking pictures when he has to do estimates, things like that. So big moves for Meta. They are competing with Amazon's version of this, and it's going to be a big battle between those two companies. This is part of why you're seeing Meta stock up right now. Just a little bit. It is some big news for that next sector, for that AI sector for them. We do have this other one that I wanted to talk about because, I've talked a lot about nuclear stocks this past year, been hounded on them ever since I knew that Trump was going to be in office. I started buying those stocks back in January, and here you see Trump orders the end to green energy. He will be putting an end to all of the money that people have been getting through subsidies for green energy deals. I know he's cutting that $7,500 tax tax that you could get with your EV purchase. So no money back for buying an EV anymore. That's kaput and done. And you're seeing him push more towards nuclear energy. And that has been a big play for me this year. We will dive into some of those stocks here in a second, but let's dive into this news article. We got President Donald Trump issued an executive order calling for the end of green energy subsidies by strengthening provisions in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act on Monday night, citing national security concerns and unnecessary costs to taxpayers. The order argues that a heavily reliance on green energy subsidies compromise the reliability of the power grid and undermines energy dependence. Trump called for the U.S. to rapidly eliminate federal green energy subsidies and to build upon and strengthen the repeal of wind and solar tax credits remaining in the reconciliation law in the order, directing the Treasury Department to enforce the phase-out of tax credits. For too long, the federal government has forced American taxpayers to subsidize expensive and unreliable energy sources like wind and solar, the order states. Reliance on so-called green subsidies threatens national security by making the United States dependent on supply chains controlled by foreign adversaries. This is something I expected. I'm not too surprised by this, especially since, he is the president that said, drill, baby, drill. He does make some valid points on how, wrong screen there. He does make some valid points on how reliant we end up being on foreign countries to make these goods. Most of those goods are made overseas and then they are moved here. They also are not extremely efficient at storing said energy. So you have things like solar farms who can only store about 2 weeks worth of energy and are not readily able to supply that on demand. So definitely a little bit of a hindrance there. You've also got solar power, where there have been a lot of people who have made the push to solar, and then they're turned around and screwed on the back end. You have your solar panels, and you're able to have electricity, but you're still connected to the power grid, so now you're mandated to sell your electricity back to the power company, and they're purchasing it from you at about 3 cents a kilowatt hour, and they are selling it at about 12 cents a kilowatt hour. That's your average price of energy in the United States. So the only person that really comes out ahead on that is them. Yes, you get cheaper electricity and all of that, but you're mandated to sell that back, and they're just making money off of the energy that you had. So those are those two news articles I was kind of looking at for today. I didn't have anything else, as this was just winging it today. We will be better prepared for the next one because that's going to be on this weekend. I now have a little bit more time on my hands, so we will be doing this every weekend, kind of recapping what happened in the stock market that week. I see Justin Eubanks in here dropping that yo. Hope you're having a great day today, Justin Eubanks. I appreciate you showing up. Drunk on Crypto. Sup, everyone? It's my first time. Please be gentle. Well, it's my first time on this show as well. A new venture that has been asked for in a Piper Academy Discord, and finally getting around to doing that. I appreciate that sub there as well. I hope you enjoy the content. We'll be focused mainly on traditional markets. We'll be doing a weekly recap for this one. I just kind of wanted to test it out, see how things go, but definitely going to be enjoying this. I also have a few links in the description. If you are not a part of traditional investing, I've got my Webull link in there. Go ahead and join Webull. It is a great platform. Unlike Robinhood, they have never halted trading on anyone. They also have their, it's Webull Plus. It is their version of like Robinhood Gold. They give you 4.1% yield on your cash. They also will match your Roth IRA. Crypto talk or no? I do crypto talk over on Piper Academy every single morning, called Good Morning Crypto. This one will be specifically focused on traditional markets, kind of more that other side of everything, and kind of focusing on how that might impact markets in general. So crypto might get affected by some of the talk that we do here. This was just something that was asked for by some of the members of the Piper Academy, and kind of wanted to start on that venture because I've been heavily investing back in stocks, especially since these altcoins haven't been playing out. And I've been doing so more and more as these altcoins continue to make new lows when they should be at least moving sideways. So we will see how things go. I have plenty of time to hop back into some altcoins if we get to that point. Drunk on Crypto, hope that answered your question there. I did want to take a look at a few things. We've got the NASDAQ making some big moves up. Has now consolidated just a little bit to move sideways here. Not too different than your crypto side of things. We've got Rashad in here. Hi, brother. How are you? I am doing quite well. It is a day off work for me, so decided to go live. More focused on the stock side of things. Love you long time. I don't see you. Yeah, I've been up extremely early in the mornings. Had to push my time back because they got me working an hour outside of town, but hopefully being able to adjust that good morning crypto time a little bit later in the morning to accommodate more people, as I should be getting a new job soon. So we did see the NASDAQ making some sideways momentum here. We are outside of my old fib retracement that I drew. So let's get this zoomed on out to the daily here. Making some new highs here this past week. Let's get this drawn out as a fib extension now, after this nice pushback towards the upside. Going from the high to the low to the high there. Let me get that fib extension tool, and we've got our low to the high to the low. Let's get that one pulled up. We're sitting above the one line there as well, looking towards that golden pocket fib extension. So NASDAQ making some strong moves. I would like to see this old all-time high come in as some strong support here after we get this push off. So to see us make a little bit of a retracement after making some moves to the upside would not be too unexpected, especially since we got 3 touches off of 20,197 there. We did get a little bit of a candle body forming off of that to start the pump of this move. We'll kind of have to watch that price point all over again. I do think this looks quite a bit toppy here on your daily term time frame, as you're seeing that lower high on your MACD, getting a little bit of some rollover action here as well on the prime oscillator, getting that rollover too. Money flow looking quite green though, so something to kind of keep your eye on as volume comes down. It is still green money flow. We do have a bearish divergence from back here that is stacked up as well, waiting for that next one to really form, as well as we continue to make these moves towards the upside. Let's get that hourly pulled up, see what we might be looking at for the rest of the day and into tomorrow here. This is where you're starting to see a little bit of some sideways momentum here. Might be seeing a little bit more downside on these oscillators with that money flow starting to come back out, volume slowing down quite a bit. Not too unexpected as the day is starting to wrap up for the stock side of things. You do have that rollover there on the prime oscillator, but just looking like some cool off as we get some sideways momentum above that old all-time high. I wanted to take a look at the S&P 500. It is doing quite similar moves to the NASDAQ here, making a new all-time high quite recently, and then seeing a little bit of some sideways action. Quite similar to what we're seeing on the crypto side of things as well. We are above that one line there. We'll have to get a new fib extension drawn out there. But this hourly looking quite similar to the NASDAQ, getting that move to the downside here, some rollover here on your prime oscillator as volume starting to fall off quite drastically, but your money flow still in the green. So if we can at least maintain some of this 6,200 price point where you see that very strong bounce, I would continue to look for a little more upside. You have a CME gap right below that. So if we are unable to maintain that, would look to close that CME gap. Let me get that drawn out there for you. Wrong tool. There we go. We got this CME gap right below all of that. Would be an area to kind of watch for us to close. That's going to be 6,188 to 6,174. Let's get that colored in as well, because that's still open. And then I wanted to take a look at the Russell 2000. This is your mid stocks, a bit of a lower cap, more risk on kind of sentiment when you're looking at the Russell. You do have this giant CME gap that is finally closed below us, and we're now sitting on top of the 236. So a little bit less strength for your Russell 2000, as we haven't got those rate cuts that would kind of push these lower cap stocks to the upside. As you see those rate cuts start heading our way, you will see people get a little more risk on, and these lower cap stocks will get a little more investment in them, as you will have a little bit more money to be able to invest in them. You've got 3 reversal signals that have flashed here on your daily for the Russell 2000, getting a little bit of some curvature here on your MACD as well. Money flow quite low, and your volume is starting to slow down as well. Looking to at least maintain this 236 here, see if we can get a nice strong bounce off of that all over again, as we are seeing that be quite toppy on the daily. Get that zoomed on in to the hourly, seeing that rollover there as well. Prime oscillator curving back down towards the downside. You've got your MACD rejecting off of our indicator line there as your volume starts to slow down quite a bit. So looking like some selling pressure might be heading our way quite soon. We do have an area to look for the upside. If we continue on up, and see more risk on sentiment heading our way, that's going to be that 2,324 to look for. I would look towards the 236 and $2,110 first though. Oh, can't see, wrong screen there. Sorry about that. Got the Russell 2000 pulled up. Was that on all of those? Cause dang it. I don't have my quick switch button for these set up just yet. So there's that Russell 2000 for you. Looking like some resistance above us as we're holding the 236. So waiting for that stronger move back up. Are waiting to cool off these oscillators here and see if we can get that nice strong touch back at the 236 all over again. You can see some nice strong moves could be heading our way after some cool off of these oscillators. I got Ada Ace in the chat. Good afternoon to you, sir. Hope you're having a good day. Let's get that daily pulled back up for the Russell 2000 there. You can see that's where all of our highs were. You've got your daily extremely overheated MACD moving sideways here, getting that rollover. Prime oscillator also getting that rollover with 3 reversals signals having flashed and some overbought signals as well. So hopefully we can see a little bit of cool down on that, because definitely needed after a strong bounce off of that 50% fib on the retracement there. Jeffrey Stone Cipher saying can't see. I don't know if that was a little bit late there, but got that all fixed for you. All right, we did have gold that I wanted to take a look at as well. That's something I focus on Good Morning Crypto as well, but haven't been doing so as much. We did see that 236 for gold coming in as some resistance after we were unable to reclaim that high there. Higher ADA question mark. We're focused on the traditional markets here on my channel for this show, so definitely going to be taking a look at ADA tomorrow morning on Good Morning Crypto though. So this is kind of a new venture that was asked for in that Piper Academy Discord and our TradFi chats. So I wanted to do that here on my channel because I don't do a lot here and is definitely needed. So we're seeing gold get some continued rejection off of that 236. We got to push above it. We're unable to maintain it and really saw that 236 coming in as that strong resistance. You do have a bit of some support down here at the 382 that I would kind of look for. That's going to be $3,250 as your prime oscillator and MACD are both getting that curvature back down here. Money flow in the red, volume extremely low, so waiting for some volume to kind of come back in at that 236. That'll kind of show us some support. You do have the 15-minute and the rest of the day kind of looking like you might see some continued sell-off there as well. Money flow extremely in the red here. Volume extremely low. You do have some oversold signals that flashed, but were unable to really reclaim the lows from back here after we got that last little push back towards that 236 and rejected off of it all over again. Can definitely take a look at forward there, Ada Ace. Give me just a second. I will add that to my list. Let me get a list pulled up and add forward to that. We can definitely take a look at forward. It is on my stock list. So I did have a few other things to kind of touch on. Let's hop over to our yields, because we do have things heading back towards the upside here, meaning that we're seeing a little bit of some sell-off on some bonds. We have been moving quite sideways on those for a little while now. Let's get that pulled up on the daily. Woof, woof. Very volatile there. There you go. We've been moving quite sideways here on the bonds. So seeing a little bit of some stability here as people are quite unsure. These giant spikes are all selling pressure that really end up getting bought up quite quickly. Seeing almost 5% on a 3-month bond is quite nice. A quick turnaround with some safety there. You're seeing the same thing for that 1 year. Moving quite sideways. You do have a little bit of some sell-off coming on that 1 year as well. Might coincide a little bit with that Russell 2000 getting that push up, seeing a little bit more of some risk on getting that pump there as well. This one has been a little more volatile. This is that 2 year. Let's take a look at that 10-year though. That's the big one to kind of focus on. That's where all of the rates are based off of. And this one is headed a little bit differently here. We have been moving quite sideways, but this trend for the 10-year yield is more towards the upside. So continuing to see a little more sell-off on the 10-year, meaning that people in the long term think that things will be a little more okay, and they're not really looking for safety. So long-term sentiment is quite nice for some safety and longer-term investing and things that are not as hedged for safety. Definitely looking like you might see some risk on heading after we get a little bit further into the tariff news and we see things kind of settle out that way. Also looking like that rate cut might be heading our way in September. So that will be a big catalyst as well to kind of see people start selling off some of those shorter term bonds. Let's get over to that stock tab and take a look at Ford for you. Scrolling on down. I know it's here somewhere. There it is. Consumer non-durable goods. Making some nice strong moves toward the upside. Not too surprising as they have managed to handle the tariff news quite nicely. This is a naked chart. Don't really focus that much on Ford, but as you can see here, heading towards an old CME gap. Let's get that one drawn out for you. From that candle close there to the candle open up there. Let's get that drawn out. Big CME gap directly towards the top side of us. Kind of saw that come in as a bit of some resistance there. Might need to zoom this on out a little bit further from that daily. Take a look at the weekly here. Seeing us kind of find some nice strong support, flagging out just a little bit, but that could tend to lead towards a break towards the upside there. Let's get that zoomed out a little bit further so we can see quite nicely on that. Got your MACD looking a little cleaner as well. All right, let's get that fib drawn out from the lows towards that high there. Looking like that platinum pocket came in as some very, very strong support. Would look for some resistance come on in on the golden pocket. You did see a reversal signal that flashed here on the weekly after we continued off of that platinum pocket bounce. So money flow almost in the green here on the weekly. Might be a good time to do a little bit of some buying after all that tariff news kind of pushed things towards the downside for Ford. Let's get some trend lines drawn out for the bottom side there. Got some nice strong touches all along that one. Let's get that one drawn out a little bit better there. There we go. Nice strong touches. We got 2 candle body, 3, 4 candle body closes on that line on the bottom side. Really waiting to break trend here as you do see that resistance line coming in above us. Might lead to a decent little breakout towards the upside. If you can get above that golden pocket, might need to see a little bit of some cool off. Let's see what that daily, that's the 2-day there. Let's see what that daily is looking like. That's looking like it does need to see a little bit of some cool off. You've got your prime oscillator and MACD both getting some curvature here. Money flow solidly in the green, but your volume is a little bit low there. So waiting to see if you can get that nice strong push back up. I would look a little bit lower towards about 1043 to kind of see if we could hold that as some support there. You to get that nice strong bounce off of that as well before we got that next move back up towards the old CME gap. Wrong thing there. Let me get that horizontal ray drawn out from all of those highs there. You can see there we got that nice strong bounce off of it. Does look a little bit overheated on the daily. So let's see what that hourly is looking like. Looking also like you're seeing a little bit of resistance at that CME gap here on the hourly as well. Waiting to see a little bit of some more cool off. Money flow continuing to come in here, but it's doing so with muted volume. So money flow coming in, but it's doing it with quite a bit less volume as your MACD is sitting below our indicator line. Got a bearish divergence that is here and getting that continued rollover of the prime oscillator. So to see a little bit of some cool off on this would not be too unexpected. We do have all the highs from here as well. That'd be a little bit of a zone to kind of watch for. Let's get a box drawn out from the lows to the high that we would kind of watch for some buying pressure to kind of step back in here. There we go. This is kind of that box I would look for some buying pressure. Let's get that green so you know it'd be a little bit of a buying zone for Ford. There we go. Let's get that locked as well. This is that area to kind of watch for some money flow to come back in. You do have a nice fair value gap sitting below right on top of that as well. So something to kind of watch for Ford. As we're also seeing more tariff news that might push things down just a little bit for Ford. All right, we got any alt requests or stock requests? If not, I was gonna show you a few things that I've been following quite closely. This is Serve Robotics. I talked about it in the Piper Academy Discord. I was buying back here at the lows, here around that $5 mark. I did buy back again when I saw that 236 hold as some support. Waiting for that 236 to really come back into play and do some more buying at that point as well. You've got some very strong resistance at $12.88. Up to the down to the 382. So that's kind of a resistance area to watch for. We do see this 236 being an area where we could potentially see some bouncing all over again and then try to make our way back up towards our CME gap here. This is a giant CME gap that we made after we were unable to maintain that platinum pocket. That's an area I will probably do some selling at once we get back into it. We do have this golden pocket coming in at about $17 there. That's that area I will start taking some profits. Am potentially going to be doing some buying here again as you're seeing some more rollover here on our hourly. Prime oscillator sitting in the green while it's getting this rollover, and money flow is starting to come back in, but that volume's extremely low. So waiting for that money flow and volume to really head back in. You do have the daily also looking like it's quite cooled off here. So this is why I said I'd potentially do some more buying. Your money flow is still sitting in the green. Volume slowed up quite a bit. Prime oscillator rolling over. MACD sitting below our indicator line, looking like it's seeing a little bit of sideways momentum there. So 236 is that area going to be $9.38. I've got some limit orders set, and I will let y'all know probably on Good Morning Crypto as well that I'll be buying this when I'm buying it. We did talk about some energy with that Trump deal. So here's one of my nuclear stock plays. I was buying back down here at that golden pocket back in March. It is extremely ripped towards the upside. Nice strong moves towards the upside. This is a modular nuclear company that has been looking to dip their toes into some more aspects. They do have a potential mining deal coming up that they want to do. So another thing to kind of keep your eye on for SMR. Let me get this box drawn out for this CME gap. This is a potential area to come back down to. Let's get that drawn out as a CME gap and not a buying pressure box, because although it might be a buying pressure area, it is a CME gap I would like to see closed. And this is that 236. We might see some strong bouncing on. You do see your MACD and prime oscillator heading back towards the downside. Money flow still in the green here, but volume starting to slow up quite a bit here as well. Let's get that drawn on. Let's get that pulled up to that higher term time frame, and this is where I was looking for that stronger pullback. You do see this divergence has stacked up. A second reversal signal has flashed, and money flow starting to roll over just a bit, and that MACD is getting that rollover as well. Kind of waiting to see how things go when we get back down towards this one line and about $32.11. That's an area to kind of watch for us to pause at as we see a little bit of sell-off head our way. Let me get a fib extension drawn out as well, and hide the fib retracement there so we can see some different levels to kind of watch for. We do have the low to the high to the low there, and that's where we're seeing us unable to maintain the top side of that fib extension line. Let's get the fib retracement hidden so it doesn't look so confusing there. This is where we're looking for a little bit of some rejection towards the downside. Seeing that one line unable to be held. I saw this very strong resistance at the platinum pocket. That's an area to kind of keep your eye on as well. Might come down and retest that. Might see it be lost with how overheated that weekly is and how overheated that daily was as well, and waiting for a little bit of some cool off. Take a look at that 1 hour, and that 1 hour moving a little bit towards the upside here as we're seeing this price move quite sideways, so that does indicate you might see a little bit more sell-off on this as well, heating up that prime oscillator and MACD without moving back towards the upside. We are in a little bit of a downtrend here as we're making lower lows and lower highs, so looking for that next buying point on some SMR. Still think it's got plenty of room to run towards the upside. This is LEU, my other nuclear stock play. Did see some resistance at that 200, and this is that 1618 on our fib extension there. Would look for a little bit more sideways momentum coming in as that money flow is sitting in the red. Let's get that pulled up to the weekly there so you can see that a little bit better. And we've got our prime oscillator and MACD both extremely overheated here. Seeing a little bit of sideways momentum coming in on that. You're getting that rollover of your prime oscillator with some overbought signals. You don't have a peak seeker that is flashed just yet. Might see that push back up towards the 1618 and 199. That $200 mark before we see that very strong rejection back down towards the downside, and that's where I'd kind of look at either the platinum pocket or the golden pocket there on the extension, about 117 to 130. Seeing that hold up as some support, as that golden pocket was some resistance before we made that strong move back towards the upside. Let's get that on the daily, see what we're looking at there. Seeing that starting to break towards the bottom side here as well. You've got your money flow still sitting in the green, but it has slowed up quite a bit and your volume's starting to slow up quite a bit as well. You've got your prime oscillator moving a little sideways here as it is red, and that MACD still pointing towards the downside. So to see a little bit of some sell-off would not be too unexpected after this nice strong move towards the upside of 320%. So very strong move towards the upside for some nuclear stocks there. And then I talked about OKLO in the Discord, as the Piper Academy Discord as well. Link is in the description on the YouTube for all you people watching on X. Let me get that dropped in the chat for you. We've got there it is. Piper Academy Discord. You will have to be a YouTube member to get full access, but here's that link for you on X. We are seeing OKLO see a little bit of some cool off after a nice strong push off of that zero line here, that one line here on our fib retracement, looking a little bit like you might see a stronger pullback here. I would look towards that 50% line on the fib retracement. That's going to be about 45. So let's get that CME gap drawn out as well. If we were unable to maintain that 50% line on our fib retracement, I would look to close the CME gap, get a nice strong touch off of the golden pocket, and then continue back towards the upside. It is in a massive uptrend here, and you've got very strong support back at $17.32, but I don't think we come all the way back down there. Let's get that pulled up to the weekly, get a fib extension drawn out there, and hide that fib retracement so we could potentially see what levels might get hit next. We do have those very equal lows there, but we're going to pull from the low before all of that here. So we've got your low to your high to your new very low there, and saw that golden pocket on the extension come in as a little bit of some support. We saw this buying wick come in to really hold price up at that point, but looking like that platinum pocket and 59.61 is a little bit of some resistance there. You do get that very nice selling wick that touched on that one line there, and then you really saw that sell off start heading our way. You've got this CME gap to kind of watch for, and the 50% line on that fib extension is the top side of that CME gap, so kind of something to watch for. A lot of correlation at that top side of the CME gap, coming in at $45. I didn't have anything else to kind of watch for, and I'm not seeing any other requests to take a look at. So I will wind the show on down. I appreciate everyone for tuning on in. I will get this show fine-tuned as we go forward. I will get some music for the intros and the outros, and I'll think of something fun for us to do every single show. So thank you for tuning on in. If you have any thoughts or some comments, things that you'd like to see for this Wall Street weekly show that I'll be doing, let me know in some comments, and I will incorporate everything that I can for you guys. If you got any things that you need to know for stock trading or options trading, or things you'd like to learn about for the traditional side of things, go ahead, let me know, and we will do some specials on those as well. I appreciate everyone for tuning on in. I will see you at Good Morning Crypto tomorrow morning, and see you at the